All right, welcome to Chapter 4 about economic efficiency, government price controls, and taxes. Building off of the supply and demand graph that we learned about in Chapter 3, we start off with a discussion of consumer and producer surplus. And this is an extremely important concept where it's a way that we can actually measure the benefit we gain from trade in a market as either consumers purchasing a product or sellers selling a product, which for you and me, for most of us, that is going to be selling our labor, how much benefit we gain from working for someone else. So, extremely important and useful topic. I wanted to take a look at the interactive figures here at the end of the chapter and go over this diagram so really kind of hone in on what is happening here. So here we have a demand market for chai tea because we're looking at consumer surplus, and the consumer surplus is the area below the demand curve and above our price. And if we adjust the settings for our market, let's set our prices to be different. Let's say that originally it was $3, but due to some change in the market, maybe new government taxes or something, the price is now $2, or rather that would be a reduction in taxes. What we see here is at the initial price of $3, we have literally a smaller area, and that with a lower price because more consumers are purchasing the product, and because the consumers who are at this point in the demand curve where they're willing to pay almost $10 for the chai tea, they're now having to pay even less money. So they're getting even more surplus, more benefit when we compare the value they're willing to spend to the value they actually have to pay. And I especially want to look at the calculation here at the bottom. And just looking at this equation, it might feel a little overwhelming, but really it's quite simple. Because we're only having to calculate the area of a triangle, that's exactly what this formula is. First, we have the height of the triangle. We have the price that consumers are willing to pay at the very top, right? So the consumers who have the highest price point right here. And we have the price that is in the market of $3 right here, our initial price. And so that forms the height of our triangle. And then we have the base of our triangle, which is from 0, where nobody purchases the product, compared to how many people actually buy the product. So that's going to be the lengthwise base of our triangle here. So we have the height of our triangle, the difference between what consumers are willing to pay and what they actually pay. And the base of our triangle, how many people actually buy the product. And we can see here, if we hover in the right spot, well, it's not highlighting it, but that is 13.1. So we multiply those differences together, and that would give us this square, if we imagined a whole square here, and we divide that by 2, and that gives us the blue triangle, which is consumer surplus under the initial price. And then compare that to the calculation for the for the new consumer surplus. It's the same height, and the same initial thing, but now we're comparing it to the new price, and we have more consumers who are willing to purchase the product because it is now cheaper, right? And that gives us our calculation. And if we adjust the initial price back to the new price, you can see that as it gets more expensive, as it gets less expensive, and as more people purchase the product, the two prices get closer and closer together until they are, again, equal into this equilibrium. And here at the bottom, this delta, this little triangle, is just the term that mathematicians and economists use to denote a change in something, right? So this is the change in consumer surplus. And so the change in consumer surplus is just the difference between the new consumer surplus and the old consumer surplus. So if we, again, raise the price, and as there's more surplus in the market, we can see that that becomes a positive number. Hopefully that is useful to you as you're looking at these different charts and help you understand that formula. Again, this is a very important consideration. We're going to be using it a lot. We already used this idea in this chapter to talk about taxes, because when there is a tax, the government, or a price ceiling or a price floor, the government has an effect on what the price is in the market. And so if we have for this example, price ceiling that is set below the equilibrium price, it changes the areas of consumer surplus and the areas of producer surplus because, again, it's affecting the price. And because the market is in disequilibrium, we also get a deadweight loss, which is a loss in surplus compared to the efficient market outcome, right? So very important that you understand these terms. If you have any questions, please email me or stop by my office hours. I'm happy to go over these ideas and expand on them for you. Otherwise, have an excellent week, everyone.